Hey everyone, my name is Robin and I'm the Power BI instructor, and this is a video for my Power BI DAX Super User course. If you ever tried to map a visual, you may have noticed some issues when you're trying to map a city, a state, or a zip code. It doesn't always work correctly. In this short video, we'll show you how to sync your data with your map visual that's using longitude and latitude for a more precise location and exact location of your data. The entire Power BI DAX Super User course can be found on my site, whatdoyouwanttolearntoday.ca. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, everyone, to this topic where we will sync your data with maps. And what we mean by this is we're actually going to use latitude and longitude for these. In the last class, when we did mapping, we did city or province or state or the country or that kind of stuff. The problem we encountered there is that if you had the same city name in different countries, it wouldn't show up in the correct country. So I mentioned then, and as I will now, the best way to do this is latitude and longitude. So if your corporation or yourself are spread out either regionally within a province or state or within the country or the world, this is the way to do it. But before we get into that, let's first import the data. We didn't import it yet, so you can just go from your home ribbon here, Excel workbook, and pull up that DAX data Excel file again. But this time it is the Alberta electoral map, where we have the names of our ridings and population, and the votes that went to two parties, the PCs and NDP, and it lists their latitude and longitude for each riding. So just click on load there, give it a second, and I'll just come to this view so we can see it, your data view. There it is again. Okay, so you can see we have 87 ridings, and each has a population, again, who voted for PC, who voted for NDP. By the way, I don't think these numbers are just random, that's not accurate, but the latitude and longitudes are accurate. So you do need two columns like that put in. They don't have to be called longitude, latitude, but they will still work. Okay, so now come back to your report page and create a new page for me. We'll call it Chapter 4 Maps. And before we get drawing on these maps, let's do two measures here first. So first, maybe, remember we had a problem where it gets located in the wrong one. So let's sit in the measures table before we get working, and then click on the new measure button up here. Zoom in if necessary. Okay, the first measure, we're going to call it AB NDP percent. So it's Alberta NDP percent equals. And we're just going to do basic calculations here where we're going to sum the NDP column in the Alberta electoral map. So sum that column up divided by the sum of the population column in that same table, right? So it's the number of voters for NDP divided by the total population. Enter key, and actually we can do another new measure. We'll call this AB PC percent. And again, it's the same thing, summing up. This time we're going to sum up the PC field in that table divided by the summation of the population again. Okay, you might want to throw percent on that, on both of them. Create two cards now. You can just put them down here someplace. Like that. And the NDP goes in one and the PC goes in the other. And I'll do a quick little format here as well. is I like to put on my borders and my shadow. Okay, so there you see who voted for the Alberta PCs and how many voted for the NDPs. All right, before we do the next one, here's a web address for you that you can use to get the latitude and longitude. So I'll give you a minute. If you want to pause the video here and write this down, go right ahead. And it's basically a website, and here's what it looks like, where you can put your location in, and then you can zoom in and out and so forth. So for example, if I put in here Seattle, I go find, it'll zoom in to Seattle. Now if I zoom out, because I see, for example, in Seattle, we got Bellevue, we have, all these various areas. So if I click on Bellevue here, I get the longitude and latitude right there. So for every place you click on the map, you get the exact location of what you're trying to show. So maybe you have an office in Kenmore. So I click on Kenmore there. Or maybe you have an office in Lake City. So you see, as you click on these, that's how you get the latitude and longitude. Okay, so use that address if you like. It will definitely help you with the latitude and longitude. I do not recommend using postal codes and zip codes because they can have duplicates across the world. Okay, so now let's use the visual, the map visual. And I'm going to make it that big. So now, with that map visual, guess what? I'm now going to take the latitude and the longitude from the table Alberta electoral map. And the population will go in the bubble size. And as you zoom in, so you may wonder why we got so much in the two major cities, and that's because there's a lot of ridings in these cities. The cities are about 1.6 million each. That's why it looks kind of busy. Okay. But you can see with latitude and longitude, it's much, much more precise. Now we're also going to show here the tooltips. Because there is so much information in here, if you start dragging from here, for example, the riding name, I can put in the tooltips. And then the NDP I can put in there. And then I can throw in the measure, Alberta NDP. And then I'm going to take PC and Alberta PC measure. Now what I'm doing is that now when I zoom into these ridings and hover, look at all the information I get. The latitude and longitude of them, the sum of the population for that riding, the name of the riding, sum of the population for the NDP, or votes, sorry, for NDP, their percentage, and this percentage again for the Alberta PC party. Now, you can see here some of these, look what it's doing for the labels. Remember, you can right click on these and rename for this visual. So first riding name doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to delete the word first. And where it says sum of NDP, same thing, I'm going to right click it. So I'm going to call it NDP votes. And then rename NDP share of votes. And then same thing with the PCs, rename that, and that'll be PC votes. And then share of PC share of votes. So now when I hover, makes nice and more detailed. So it's the riding name, NDP votes, share of votes, PC votes, okay? So in this example of a map, again, anytime you see tooltips there on the bottom of a visualization, you can throw in all these fields, and it just adds more information to when the person hovers over these. And yes, it will work when you publish it to your Power or app.powerbi.com and put it on your dashboards. People will be able to hover and get the same information. Okay, so what we learned here is latitude and longitude works, much more precise for those people that are across a region, the country, or the world. All right, that's it for that topic. We'll see you in the next topic where we discuss key metrics and your KPI visuals.